Okay, so today we are going to look at square roots. Okay, now I want you to first look at when we have 1 times 1. If we write 1 times 1 as like an exponential number, we will have it as 1 squared. And 1 squared is the same as 1. So 1 times 1 is the same as 1 squared and the same as 1. And when we have negative 1 times negative 1, we will get negative 1 squared. And this is the same as 1. You know that negative 1 times negative 1, we get positive 1. So you can see that 1 times 1 will give you 1, and negative 1 times negative 1 will be also 1. Then when we have 2 times 2, we will get 2 squared. And 2 squared is the same as 4. Like 2 times 2 is the same as 4. Now, when we have negative 2 times negative 2, we will get negative 2 squared. And this is the same as 4. Okay, so if we have 3 times 3, what do we get, student?
3 in the power of 2.
3 squared. You can call it 3 squared.
Yes.
And this is equal to
9.
9. And then, if we have negative 3 times negative 3, we will get negative 3 squared. And negative 3 squared is the same also as 9. So you see, 3 times 3, we get 9. And also negative 3 times negative 3, we get 9. Okay, let's get another one. Like if we have 4 times 4, we will get 4 squared. And 4 squared is the same as 16. 4 times 4 is the same as 16. When we have negative 4 times negative 4, we will get negative 4 squared. And this also will be 16. Okay, let's get the last one. You can understand the whole pattern. 5 times 5 will give us 5 squared. And this is the same as 25. If we have negative 5 times negative 5, let's see, negative 5 times negative 5, we will get negative 5 squared. And this also will give us 25. So you see that 5 times 5 is the same as 5 squared and the same as 25. And even if we get negative 5 times negative 5, we will get negative 5 squared, which is the same as 25. So according to what we are seeing here, we can say that 1 we can say that 1 is the same as 1 squared, and it is the same as -1 squared. You see that? 1 is the same as -1 squared, and even 1 is the same as 1 squared. So this means that 1 times 1 is equal to 1. -1 times -1 is equal to 1. So we say that 1 and -1 are called square roots of 1. You understand that? When we say, what is the square root of 1? The square root of 1 is 1 and -1. It means that what number can you multiply by itself to get 1? In order to get 1, I can get 1 times 1, or I can get -1 times -1. So that's why we say that 1 and -1 are square roots of 1. Look at another one. 4 is equal to 2 squared and equal to -2 squared. We have seen that already, that 2 squared is 2 times 2, which is 4. -2 squared is the same as -2 times -2, which is the same as 4. So we say that 2 and -2 are called the square roots of 4. Okay. Then we have got 9. 9 is the same as 3 squared. 3 squared, you know that is 3 times 3, which is also the same as -3 squared. This means -3 times -3, which is the same as 9. So it means that 3 and -3 are called the square roots of 9. So we have 1, 4, 9. What is the another number? Another number is
16.
16. Very good. So 16 is equal to
4 square.
4 squared, which is equal to
-4 square.
-4 squared. So we say that 4 and -4 are called square roots of 16. Okay, so we have got another number like how we have seen already, that is 25. 25 is the same as 5 squared, the same as -5 squared. And now we say that 5 and -5 are called square roots of 25. So when we talk about the square root, we mean a number that we can multiply by itself to give 25. So it means that that number is 5 and it is -5. So that 5 times 5 is 25. And negative 5 times negative 5 is 25. So that's why a number has got two square roots, a positive square root and a negative square root. Then also, we can say that numbers like 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, and many others are squared numbers. Are squared numbers, and these are also called perfect squares. Now, if we have 1 as a square number from 1 squared, we have 4 from 2 squared, we have 9 from 3 squared, 16 from 4 squared, 25 from 5 squared. What is the next square number? What is the next?
13.
Again?
36.
36. 36, very good. 36. Another one?
49.
49, very good. And how do you get 49?
7 times 7.
And negative 7 times negative
7.
Very, very good. Okay. So when we talk about the square root, you need to think of a number that you can multiply by itself. So if I say, what is the square root of 64? Then you think, oh, what number times that very number is equal to 64? So you see that that number is 8. So implying that the square root of 64 is 8. And also you can see that that number can be negative 8 because negative 8 times negative 8 will give you 64. Okay. Now, according to what we have seen, what is the square root of 0? What do you think? The square root of 0?
0 times 0.
0 times 0. And so, what is the square root of 0? The square root of 0 will be 0. Okay? Because 0 times 0 equals 0. And do you think we can get like the square root of negative 4? You think? Can we get the square root of negative 4? Of course, we know that we know the square root of 4. The square root of 4 is 2 and negative 2, because if I get 2 times 2, I'll get 4. And if I get negative 2 times negative 2, I will get 4. So that's why the square root of 4 is 2 and negative 2. But now, what about negative 4? Is there any number that we can multiply by itself and we get negative 4? Is it there? I think no. So it means that there is no square root of negative 4. No square root. Look, if we have negative 9, do you think we can get the square root of negative 9? Yes or no?
No.
No. Because there is no number that I can multiply by itself to get negative 9. I cannot say 3 times 3. If I say 3 times 3, I will get 9. It is not negative 9. I cannot say negative 3 times negative 3. Negative 3 times negative 3 will give me 9. So there is no way how I will get negative 9. So it means that negative 9 has no square root. Okay, so can we get square root of negative 16? Yes or no?
No.
Why?
Because 4 times 4 is 16 and negative 4 times negative 4 is 16, not negative 16.
Wow, very good, very good. So it means that there is no number that we can multiply by itself to get negative 16. So negative 16 has no square root. So do you think that can we get square root of any negative number? If we have any negative number, can we have its square root? So from what we are seeing for sure, there is no number that we can multiply by itself to get a negative number. So it means that there is no square root of a negative number. A negative number cannot have square root because there is no number that we can multiply by itself to get a negative number. So that's why there is no square root of a negative number. Okay. Let us do an example of finding square root. Find the square roots of the following numbers. Okay, so let's have number 1 as 36. We have number 2 as 1 out of 9. We have number 3 as 0.25. Number 4 as 3. Number 5 as 1 out of 5. And number 6 as 0.4. So we are going to find the square roots of these 6 numbers. And I know by the end of it all, you are going to be able to understand what a square root is and how to get it. Okay, now right away, we will do the solutions. Let's get the solutions. Okay, so we begin with number 1, where we have 36. So you need to think, because we know that the square root of 36 is a number that we can square. When I say to square, it means that I get that number, I multiply by itself. Like if I get 2 times 2, it means that I have squared 2. So that's what I say, that's why I call square. So the square root of 36 is the number that we can square to get 36. And we know that a number will have a positive square root and a negative square root. So we say that the positive square root of 36, the positive square root of 36 will be this one. And the negative square root, the negative square root of 36 will be negative square root of 36. Oh, one more thing that you need to know is about this symbol. Whenever you look at this symbol, you need to know that it means square root. This is the symbol for square root. That's why I'm using it here and I'm using it here. So what number can we square to get 36, student?
6.
Very good, 6. So it means that the positive square root of 36 will be 6. And the negative square root will be negative 6. So we say that, therefore, the square roots of 36 are 6 and negative 6. You understand?
Yes.
Okay. Now, let's look at number 2. We need to know the square root of 1 out of 9. So the square root of 1 out of 9 will be the positive square root, the positive square root, the square root of 1 out of 9 is the positive square root and the negative square root of 1 out of 9. So what is the positive square root of 1 out of 9? Square root of 1 is
1.
and the square root of 9 is
3.
3. So the positive square root of 1 out of 9 is 1 out of 3. And the negative square root is negative 1 out of 3. You understand?
Yes.
Okay. So we look at number 3. For number 3, we have got 0.25. Remember, we need to have the positive square root and then we need to have the negative square root. And of course, the positive square root of 0.25 is this one. And the negative square root is the negative square root of 0.25. So, which number can we multiply by itself to get 0.25?
0.5.
Very good. So this means that the positive square root is 0.5 and the negative square root is negative 0.5. And actually, to get this very, very easily, you can say that, okay, so 0.25, I know that it is 25 out of 100. And the square root of 25 is 5. And the square root of 100 is, what is square root of 100? The square root of 100 is 10. It means that 10 times 10 is 100. So 5 out of 10 is the same as 0.5. So that's why we have the square root of 0.25 as 0.5. So we say that, therefore, the square roots of 0.25 are 0.5 and negative 0.5. Okay, I hope that is very okay. Now we look at another number, that is number 4. Number 4, we have got 3. We know that the square root of 3 is a number that we can multiply by itself to get 3. So the positive square root of 3 is the square root of 3. And the negative square root of 3 is the negative square root of 3. So student, what number can we multiply by itself to get 3? Is it there or it is not there? Yes? Any number that we can multiply by itself to get 3? Hello, do you hear me?
Yeah, no. Cannot.
Cannot, because you see, if I have 1 times 1, I'll get 1. 2 times 2, I'll get 4. 3 times 3, I'll get 9. So there is no number that I can multiply by itself to get 3. So that number is not there. So if it is not there, we write the square root of 3 as, let's say, the square roots of 3 are, we just write it with its symbol. We say that are the square root of 3 and the negative square root of 3. Because there is no number that we can multiply by itself to get 3. So we write it like this. Do you understand?
Yes.
Yes. Another number that does not have, that is not a perfect square, like let's say 5. the square root of 5, we say that, okay, the square root of 5 and the negative square root of 5. Because there is no number that you can multiply by itself to get 5. Another number can be 6, 7, 8, 10. All of those will write their square roots like this. Okay. Now let's look at number 5. For number 5, we have got 1 out of 5. So the negative square root of 1 out of 5, and now let's begin with the positive square root. The positive square root of 1 out of 5 is the square root of 1 out of 5. Remember, this symbol means square root. So the negative square root of 1 out of 5 is, what is the negative square root? Negative square root of 1 out of 5. Okay, so is there any number that we can multiply by itself to get 1 out of 5?
Cannot.
Cannot. Okay, let's look at 1 alone and 5 alone. Is there any number that we can multiply by itself to get 1? Yes or no?
Yes.
What number is that?
1 out of 5.
No. No. 1 alone, we can get 1 times 1 to get 1. That is okay. But 5, we cannot. So 5, we just write it as the square root of 5. You understand it? So
Yes.
we have 1 is okay, but 5, we cannot have it. So we can say that therefore, the square roots of 1 out of 5 are the positive square root, which is 1 out of the square root of 5, and the negative square root, which is negative 1 out of the square root of 5. You understand?
Yes.
Yes. Or you can even leave it as, you can leave it as this. You can even leave to get the square root of 1 alone. You just have it as the square root of 1 out of 5 and negative square root of 1 out of 5. In case one of the numbers does not have square root, like 5, you can leave the whole of it, or you can get this square root, and for the number down, you write the square root of that number. Still, it is okay. So we can say that we can say that the square root of 1 out of 5 are a square root of 1 out of 5 and negative square root of 1 out of 5. Still, this is okay. All right, now we will get to number 6. Number 6. For number 6, we have 0.4. And we know that the positive square root positive square root of 0.4 will be this one. Then the negative square root of 0.4, let's write it here also, is negative 0.4. So is there any number that we can multiply by itself to get 0.4? Yes or no?
No.
I think no, because okay, if we say that this is 4 out of 10, the square root of this is okay, it's 2, but 10 no. So there is no number that we can multiply by itself to get 0.4. So we say that therefore the square roots of 0.4 are the positive square root, which is 0.4, and the negative square root, which is the negative square root of 0.4. That's how we can write the square roots of 0.4. Have you understood?
Yes.
Okay. Let's do a very quick practice for about 4 minutes. Let's have practice. We'll have, let's have number 1 as 49. Let's have number 2 as 4 out of 25. Let's have number 3 as 1.21. And we can also have number 4 as, let's say, 7. Let's have number 5 as 7 out of 9. Okay, so let's summarize very quickly. The square root of 49. What is square root of 49?
7.
7 alone? Remember, we must have
7
negative
is
and
negative.
positive.
7
7
and negative 7.
and negative 7. Very good. Finished. And the square root of, sorry, this is 25. The square root of 4 out of 25.
2 out of 5 and negative 2 out of 5.
Very good. Square roots of 4 out of 25 are 2 out of 5 and negative 2 out of 5. Okay, what about 1.21?
1.1 and negative 1.1.
How do you get 1.1? 1.21 means 121 out of 100. And the square root of 121 is 11. Square root of 100 is 10. 11 out of 10 is the same as 1.1. You get it? So the square roots of 1.21 are 1.1 and negative 1.1. What about the square roots of 7? Yes?
square root 7.
Yes, square root 7 and negative square root of 7. And then 7 out of 9. What do we have? The square root? Yes,
7 out of
9 and negative square root of 7 out of 9.